I'm just taking the mask off for purpose of the presentation. Before I step down, I will put the mask back on for the protection of the handful of other people in the room this morning. Let me just go over an outline of the press conference. I'm going to start with opening comments where I will outline the new campaign. I'll be followed by the Vice Chair of our Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Kevin Barnhart, and then he will be followed by Commissioner Michael Rivera. After that, I will come back to the platform, and all three commissioners will be spread out on the platform, but we will take any questions at that time. Thank you for attending this Berks County Commissioners press conference. As your Berks County Commissioners, we believe it's time to change the focus in Berks County and Pennsylvania from closing businesses to promoting and enforcing meaningful and effective health and safety standards that truly mitigate the spread of COVID-19 here in our community. Let's start by changing the focus to health and safety. For the past several weeks, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has been focused on which businesses should be open and which businesses should be closed. Our local economy has taken a major hit, and small businesses and hardworking men and women in Berks are being crushed. At the same time, many businesses that are open are not practicing proper COVID-19 health and safety practices. It's time to change the focus. It's time for Berks County to focus on meaningful and effective health and safety standards to truly mitigate the spread of COVID-19 here in our community. Let's change the message here in Berks County and in the Commonwealth. We are calling on our businesses, institutions, and residents in Berks County to focus their attention on meaningful and effective health and safety standards. Here's what we're asking our businesses, institutions, and residents to do. We're asking every business and institution in Berks County to immediately institute COVID-19 health and safety policies to protect their staff and customers. When it comes to businesses and institutions, there are great resources provided by OSHA, the CDC, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We have those links, or will have those links, up on our Berks DES site, and those links will be provided to the press shortly after this press conference. We are also asking residents to institute personal COVID-19 health and safety policies. We need them not just to protect themselves, but to protect the people that are around them, and to ask their neighbors and family and friends to do the same. It is critical for us to understand that the best way to prevent illness is to avoid being exposed to the virus. While public health authorities are working to produce a vaccine, as of today, there is no vaccine to prevent coronavirus disease. The best way to avoid exposure is to follow good public health hygiene practices that should be done every day, regardless of the existence of this new disease. Things like stay at home as much as possible, avoid touching your face, wash your hands vigorously with soap and water multiple times a day, and only use hand sanitizer when soap and water are not available. Avoid close contact with people who are ill. Clean surfaces in your home and office regularly. Practice social distancing. Avoid common practices like handshaking. Everyone should wear a cloth mask when they must go out in public. For example, to the grocery store or to pick up other necessities. The cloth mask is meant to protect other people in case you are infected. Do not use a mask meant for health care workers, commonly known as the N95. Continue to keep at least 6 feet between yourself and others. The cloth face cover is not a substitute for social distancing. As residents of Berks, let's commit to support the businesses that implement healthy COVID-19 standards. And let's avoid businesses that ignore these precautions, recognizing that they are putting both their employees and patrons at risk. We are in this together, so let's watch out for each other. Should you see or experience a business that is not following health and safety precautions, please call or email that business with your concerns. This time I want to take a moment to introduce you to some tools that we are releasing today. The first is a poster that we're asking businesses to post throughout their business for the benefit of their employees, as well as for the benefit of individuals that are coming through their establishment. This outlines the list of precautions that I just read. Secondly, we're encouraging businesses to put this sign at every entrance where the public is able to enter. We're open, and these are businesses that are currently allowed to be open. We're following recommended protocols for your safety. If you have any recommendations, please contact, and we ask the businesses to put the name or the department and the contact information, and then to promote, do your part, stop the spread. The other poster that we have is for individuals, residents, to put in the front window of their home. We're doing our part, supporting Berks County businesses following health and safety regulations. Do your part, stop the spread. Thirdly, we are asking, and we are calling on Governor Tom Wolf and our state legislature to change the Commonwealth focus and pivot from deciding what businesses are open or closed to turning to the enforcement of meaningful and effective health and safety standards to truly mitigate the spread of COVID-19 here in our community and the entire Commonwealth. I know these are very difficult and uncertain times. Many of you don't know what to believe about COVID-19. If most leaders are honest, they will admit, as I will, that we don't have all the answers and that there is much we do not understand about this virus. But what I do know is that this crisis is real and that we are in this together. I know that we must do what we can to limit the spread of COVID-19 so that our local healthcare providers are not overrun with cases of COVID-19. I also know that Berks Countyans are tough and will do what they need to stay safe and keep their families and neighbors safe. It's time for us, as citizens of the Commonwealth, to take on the challenge, to do your part, to do our part, to stop the spread. Almost 100 years ago, Teddy Roosevelt made a statement that I've thought of often as I've heard from people calling the county or have read people critical of Governor Wolf or critical of President Trump. And I want to note that I do believe, and we believe, that our president and his administration and the governor and his administration are doing what they believe is right. Teddy Roosevelt said this, and this is an abridged version. It's not the critic who counts, not the man or woman who points how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man or the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause. Do your part. Stop the spread. Is a worthy cause. Be more than a critic. be the men and women of the Commonwealth and men and women of Berks County that jump into the arena to make a difference. It may mean life and death for your family members, your neighbors, and others in our community. At this point in time, I would like to recognize my colleague, Commissioner Kevin Barnhart, for some comments.
Touch your own.
Excuse me?
Go get your mask.
I told you I'd put it back on.
I don't want to cross-pollinate.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to address you briefly about this wonderful public outreach. And I really want to commend Commissioner Leinbach and Commissioner Rivera for being the guys out in the public, being the public face of this pandemic crisis on behalf of the county. I've been doing a lot of internal things, so I appreciate your devotion to this effort. We're all going to get through this together. And I just want to emphasize that when we get through this, and we will, that many of these basic understandings on the first sheet should carry on for years to come. Things like maintain aggressive cleaning protocols throughout your facility. Ensure the facility has enough employees to perform the health protocols effectively in a manner that ensures the safety of customers and employees. We should be doing this now and into the future. Stay home as much as possible, especially if you're feeling ill. I mean, how many people come to work when they're not feeling so well? We have to stop that as well going forward. Avoid using mass transit unless absolutely necessary. I want to touch on this point today. BARDA a few weeks ago went to a Saturday schedule, a scaled back schedule, stopped taking fares, and insisted that people enter the rear of the bus to avoid contact with the driver, unless you had a assistance need that you get in the front of the bus. We now have put Reading Police and County Sheriff's deputies at BTC to discourage people from simply taking joyrides on BARDA. This is not a time to see beautiful Berks County. This is a time to stay at home, stay safe, and try not to impact other people. Please, I'm insisting that you take this protocol, you recognize it. I understand you have to get out to shop, to go to doctor's appointments, to get to the pharmacy. They're the people who should be getting on the bus, the people who are essential workers, people that need to get out and get food to sustain their lives. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue or your elbow when coughing or sneezing. I think kids learn that in grade school. Avoid touching your face. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds and disinfect surfaces in your home, especially when someone is ill. Again, these things should carry forth once we're clear of this pandemic, and certainly we don't want it to reoccur in the fall. So as we gradually come out of this, and that could be somewhere in the future, we need to practice these safe protocols now and into the future. And again, I want to thank the folks who put these graphics together. They'll be available for downloading to businesses and to the public. And again, we're all in this together. It's an oft-used phrase, but it truly shows the support we have in our community for the first responders, the healthcare folks, donating PPEs to those people. Please keep this up, keep yourself safe, and we're all going to get through this together. Thank you very much. Commissioner Rivera.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. As both Commissioner Leinbach and Commissioner Barnhart have said, everyone plays a part in stopping the spread. It's important that everyone follow the measures that have been outlined today and are outlined on the posters that we're providing, and in the information that's provided on websites such as the CDC and the PA Department of Health. Residents, please wear the face coverings no matter where you go. When you go outside, when you're in public, wear those face masks. Just this weekend, I had to go to a grocery store. I went to a local store within the city of Reading, and I was pleased to see that all the employees there face mask on. Not everyone that was shopping there had their face mask on, but all the employees had their face mask on there. When I got up to the cash register, there were lines as to where people should wait before moving forward. I'll admit I was distracted and a little too far, and the cash register stopped me and she said, "Sir, I need you to step back behind the line." I said, "Thank you very much for reminding me." I stepped back behind the line. When I got up, when it was my turn to then pay, she said, "Sir, I'm sorry I had to send you to step back." And I said, "You know what? You don't have to be sorry. You were doing my job. I was distracted. You did the right thing. Thank you very much for doing that." The next person that was behind me was coming up, got too close, and she said the same thing to the next person behind me. She said, "Sir, you need to step back while I'm finished with him." And that's what we need to do. Each one of us needs to do our part to prevent the spread of the COVID-19. We can't be ashamed and we can't be afraid of asking people to step back or to wear a face mask or to wash their hands, because we're all in this together. We see the numbers and the tolls that it's taking, not only here in the county, but throughout the state and the world. Look at the numbers, and sometimes it doesn't hit home unless it's someone that is close to us that's infected, unless it's someone that is close to us, a loved one that dies because of this. So again, we need to each take our part. Maybe you don't want to go out with a face covering because you feel you're healthy or you're young and you don't need to, but you don't know if you're infected. You need to make sure that you're protecting your family, your friends, your loved ones, because the last thing you want to have happen is for this to hit home, to hit close to you, to hit a loved one. So please, do your part to help stop the spread. Also, we're talking about essential versus non-essential businesses. Like I said, I've been out there and I've seen many essential businesses that are not following protocols. And this is not helping stop the spread, even though they're so-called essential businesses. Well, I've been in contact with many non-essential businesses who are themselves putting protocols into place to say, we want to reopen and we want to be safe. We want to protect our clients and we want to protect ourselves. So it's not a matter of essential versus non-essential, but a matter of doing what is right to helping stop the spread. To do this, we need to be able to get through this, we need to focus on health and safety standards, not essential and non-essential. We are in this together. Do your part. Help stop the spread. I also wanted to let you know that the posters that were on here initially will also be translated into Spanish. We will have them up later today, and the press conference information will also be translated to Spanish and will be released as well. So please be on the lookout for that. Thank you very much.
I want to take a moment to recognize two groups of folks that have made this possible. Several weeks ago, I was contacted by some local contractors that said, look, there are policies in place. OSHA has already provided very clear directives on construction sites in COVID-19. That began the idea that I shared with my colleagues that we need to put together a campaign to encourage businesses to do the right thing and to encourage our residents to do the right thing. As Commissioner Rivera noted, it is frustrating to see businesses that are open and appear to be taking little or no effort to address the spread. We need to do better. Secondly, I want to recognize two of the ladies that helped put this campaign together, pro bono, free of charge. They didn't charge the county anything to design and pull the posters together. Those individuals are Kim Worley. She is a creative designer, been in the business for many years. And the other individual is Erin Gantz. She works with Downtown Reading Revitalization, and we appreciate their effort. At this time, we're willing to take questions If you have any questions.
Are there penalties for businesses who are not taking the proper precautions?
At this point in time, based on the inability of the county to penalize anyone, we do not have county police. And as far as I know, the state has not taken any formal enforcement action. What we're challenging people is to say, look, this is our community. These people that live in this community are our family, they're our friends, they're our neighbors. We need to step up, not wait for the federal government, not wait for the state government, not wait for the county government. We're doing this together. And to say, let's self-enforce. Don't go to the home of somebody, well, don't go to a business. If you back up, if you walk into a business and you see employees not masked and you see customers not masked, turn around and leave. Not because that business is evil, but because you're putting yourself at risk. Keep in mind, these masks don't protect me from COVID-19. They limit the exposure of COVID-19 should I be test positive, because it limits the ability of droplets and aerosol to come out of my mouth and move some distance. We wear these not for ourselves, but to protect others. So you may have a mask on and you walk into a grocery store. If others don't have a mask on, you are not protected. You're putting yourself at risk. Turn around and leave. And I would encourage you to reach out to that business, especially if it's a business where you're a frequent customer. Believe me, maybe the business hasn't heard the message or doesn't understand how important this is to their customers. If they start hearing from customers who are saying, I'm sorry, but I don't feel safe shopping in your facility, or I don't feel safe coming to this business or to this job site, they will get the message. So this is about self-enforcement. We want to keep our community as safe as we possibly can. But thank you. Very good question.
You may have said this and I might have missed it. Are these signs going to be in Spanish as well?
Yes, they are. They are. I think they're ready translated, and we're waiting for the designer to upload the Spanish versions. They will be up on the website, plus I will be sending copies of all of this, or links to all of this material, to our entire media list shortly after this conference.
For those who are concerned they go into the police and they are not following enforcement, should they continue to report that to state police, or is there a better number where people can call? And we are getting a number of people telling us that they're afraid to go to work because they're afraid of not following proper protocol, but they can't quit because that's their job. So what advice do you have for them?
This is a very difficult issue. The question is, what advice do we have for individuals that go to a business, find that they're not following the appropriate protocol, or more seriously, are an employee at a business that is not following proper protocol? We hear this question fairly often at the COVID-19 Help Center. There are a couple of answers, and we have to be very careful. I will tell you right off the bat, do not call 911. 911 is for absolute emergencies. And look, I understand a lot of people say this is an emergency. The first thing I would do if you're a customer is turn around, leave, contact that business, ask to speak to a manager or the owner, and let them know your concerns and tell them about the campaign. Do your part, stop the spread. If that does not work, then you can call the Pennsylvania State Police. But I will tell you, they are overwhelmed and they may or may not be able to respond. If you're an employee, I would encourage you, first of all, to go through your procedure. I know that in our county, if an employee has an issue, the first step is to go to their supervisor. Go to your supervisor. If the supervisor doesn't appropriately address the issue, if your company is large enough, go to the HR department. I know at the county we have a confidential method where an employee can register a complaint with the county HR department. If that doesn't work, then reach out to the ownership of your company. And I know in some cases that owner might be local. In other cases, it might be a corporate board. But do what you can to get the word out to these businesses. We need them to step up. And as Commissioner Rivera said, a number of businesses are doing a great job protecting their employees. That's why we're promoting this sign. We want those businesses to promote what they're doing. We're open. We're following recommended protocols for your safety. If you have any recommendations, please contact. This is the kind of open business that we should be supporting as consumers. Any other questions? Okay, the question is two parts. First of all, that there's an understanding that there's a shortage of PPE at the jail. And then secondly, what is the county doing relative to the jail and also the Berksheim nursing home? First of all, on the shortage of PPE, I believe, and I'm looking back at our Director of Emergency Services, that we, Brian, do you know, as far as I know, we have enough right now of the PPE, but we have continued to try to get additional supplies. PPE has been a major problem right out of the gate. And the reason getting and PPE for the public is personal protection equipment, largely talking about masks for healthcare workers, N95 masks, etc. That continues to be a problem to get enough PPE, but we have what is needed right now. Before I answer the second question, I'm going to recognize Brian Gottschall in the back, Director of our Department of Emergency Services. His department deals with procurement pretty much for the entire county. Brian.
That's correct, Commissioner. We're working along with the county's procurement department literally 7 days a week in an effort to get these PPE issues resolved. As you mentioned, for our county departments, today there is adequate PPE in stock. We have some shortages of items like gowns, infection control gowns. However, with respect to respiratory protection, with respect to eye protection, we currently have stock in hand and we're working to get more every day. That includes for our local hospitals and our emergency responders also.
Thank you very much. The second issue is what are we doing at the Heim and the jail? I want to highlight, first of all, that right now we've had one positive staffer at the jail, one staffer at the jail test positive for COVID-19. We've been very open about that issue. I think a week ago, Sunday, we made that public. We let people know exactly what we were doing. As a result of that particular case, 9 Berks County jail staff were quarantined for the required 14-day period. 4 inmates, individual cells, and the housing unit that those inmates were on was also quarantined. The entire jail was placed into a lockdown, and both the jail and the Heim have not allowed visitors for almost 4 weeks. As a result, Today, we have no positives among the inmates at the jail and no known positives among the residents at the Heim. I want to emphasize our focus and concern with these facilities is to protect our inmates, our staff, our residents at the Heim, and our staff at the Heim. That's why we instituted very strict protocols out of the gate, and we continue to monitor anyone that goes in to our facility. Their temperature is taken, and they are checked for any type of symptoms. If there's any issue, they are not allowed to enter the facility. Any other questions? My colleagues, anything to add? Grab a mic.
Have you determined a set time of the day for a media update?
Not yet. Do you have any Facebook questions?
There's one question from Facebook. The question is, what efforts can be moved forward to either get self-employed people to receive unemployment compensation and/or get us safely opened back up with COVID compliance sooner rather than later? Self-employed folks have been forced to close down for over a month now with no income.
I'm very aware of the self-employed issue. I would encourage people with questions on that to reach out to CareerLink or to our COVID Help Center. We have a specific link with the Commonwealth where you can check on that. What's unusual about this cycle of unemployment, historically, self-employed are not eligible for unemployment. Under changes made by the federal government, self-employed individuals are eligible. I want to also emphasize again, we are strongly suggesting that the focus should not be on which businesses are going to be allowed to operate and which businesses are going to be required to be closed. We believe the focus needs to be that any business that is open has effective health and safety measures in place that effectively deal with the mitigation and spread of COVID-19. We believe that needs to be the focus and the emphasis. It especially, and I believe Commissioner Barnhart alluded to this, at some point we need to reopen business here in Berks County. The damage is significant, but we can't just reopen and act like nothing happened. We need to reopen and do our part. Do your part to stop the spread. Any other questions? Commissioner Barnhart, Commissioner Rivera.
No, we look alike. Yeah, I just want to add on the self-employed part. As of Friday, the last that we've heard is that it'll be about 2 weeks yet till the system is up for self-employed to be able to apply for unemployment compensation. So take 2 weeks, add on about 4 to 6 weeks till it'll take for you to get the first check. So you're probably looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. But according to the state unemployment, you will be receiving unemployment. You will be eligible for the additional $600 a week. They're just working right now on the system to be able to do that because under regular circumstances, self-employed are not able to apply for unemployment compensation. So I know it's been difficult. My wife is self-employed. She's a realtor. I know a lot of many others who are going through the same situation. Just keep your eye out. There is some new information that will be on the COVID website. You'll find that there. And also on the unemployment compensation website, there's new information on, I think it's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PUA, if I'm not mistaken. You can go on there and find some updated information, but there's not a date yet as to when you will be able to apply.
Before we end, I do want to make an unrelated but very important announcement. According to our Department of Emergency Services, we are under a very severe weather warning, potential tornadoes and winds up to 60 to 70 miles an hour. That understanding was the main reason we moved the location of this press conference, but that confirmation has just come in here to our Department of Emergency Services. So folks, please tune in to your local radio, local television. If you have access to a weather band, listen, and whatever instructions are given, please abide by them. This is the same storm system that ripped through Louisiana and Mississippi. I believe, last I heard, killing at least 6 people in Mississippi. This is a very serious storm system. Take it seriously. Thank you once again for joining us. I will have copies of laminated posters for each of the people here from the media, and shortly after this, we will be sending you a link to all of the digital images of these posters. We also will be sending letters to the governor, to House Majority and Minority Leadership in Harrisburg, Senate, House Majority and Minority Leadership, and to the entire Berks delegation, also promoting this program and asking for a focus on doing your part, stop the spread. Thank you. Be safe, and God bless you.